All right, grace and peace, everybody. I got some updates as it relates to the Macron case. So you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail. Let's jump into it. Candace Owens disputes Delaware ties in Macron defamation case. And this is from July 27th. Very up to date. We're pretty clear on this. We talked about it. We went over it, all that kind of good stuff. I'm going to leave the link to this article down in the description. So let's go, because I have a video that kind of breaks it down again. And I think you might be interested in how this is going to go. Right-wing podcaster Candace Owens argues Monday that the French president Emmanuel Macron seeks to avoid his country's statute of limitations on defamation claims by pursuing his lawsuit over her statements about his wife in Delaware. The only logical explanation is filing here is to take advantage of Delaware's longer statutes of limitations of 2 years rather than French's 3-month limitation. Chad Chandler of Richards, Layton and Finger, PA, representing Candace Owens, said in a hearing in Delaware Superior Court. Now, we don't have the transcripts as of yet. I'm definitely looking forward to that. If we could maybe get those transcripts, please, let's go. Owens seeks to dismiss Macron's lawsuit on procedural grounds, including that she has no personal connections to Delaware. Her brief supporting her motion to dismiss repeatedly refers to her broadcasting from her basement of her home in Tennessee. Okay, now we've talked about this before. That would sound good if she had not already sued somebody from Delaware, and that's going to come back. I really do believe it's going to come back and bite her. The Macron sued Owens in July 2025 over baseless conspiracy theories about them, particularly Brigitte Macron's French First Lady's, who's been portrayed by the podcaster as secretly transgender and a blood relative of her husband. The couple isn't seeking French remedies for these claims, their attorney said in the hearing. This lawsuit seeks unspecified damages, including punitive damages. Delaware, the corporate home to 2/3 of the Fortune 500, that is amazing, has become a primary venue for politically charged defamation cases in recent years, including a wave of litigation over President Donald Trump's false claim in the 2020 election was rigged against him. Business entities named as defendants in Macron's lawsuits were registered in Delaware by Owens because of protections available to them under state law, says Thomas Clare of Clare Locke LLP, representing the Macrons. Allowing Owens to exit the Macron's lawsuit would produce an absurd result of allowing a podcaster to say Delaware is good enough for me, but not for thee, Claire said. It was kind of funny. These companies are the ones that actually publish the defamatory statements, he said. Owens may control the entities, but the lawsuit doesn't belong to Delaware because she's being sued in her personal capacity as a journalist making alleged defamatory statements. She's not speaking on behalf of the company. That's got to be the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard in my life. She is the company. Lord knows she is the company. And I think some of the grandiose Candace behavior, a lot of people have talked about, like pretty much all of her merch is about her. Pretty much every book that she puts out is about her. Everything that she said, I mean, she is the brand. She is the brand. What is it? The CIA, the Candace Intelligence Agency? All of that stuff is hers. What does she call her cups? The Candace, the Standis cups? Like all of it is her. She is the company. The company would be nothing without Candace. I'm sorry. That's a dumb argument. Catherine Mowry, also of Richards and Finger, there's no allegation she used her corporate power to make those alleged defamatory statements. What are you talking about? She is the corporation. This is going to be very interesting. Owens and Brigitte Macron listened to the hearing via teleconference, but didn't address the court. Judge Sheldon Rennie questioned the attorneys about whether French or Tennessee law should apply to Macron's claims and when the Delaware registered entity that doesn't have arms or legs can behave as its owner's agent. He adjourned the hearing without ruling on Owens' motion to dismiss. And the Macrons are also represented by, that's not important, We're supposed to hear the verdict of this actually coming up on September 1st, I heard. So let's go ahead and bring in, shout out to this content creator, Catherine Park. Fantastic content creator. Seems really smart. Just like her humor and the way she addresses this. And the way her editing is top notch. Well, anyway, the link will be down in the description. Make sure you go and check out what she's doing over here. Yeah, make sure you check out what she's doing over here. I think she does a great job. This is a fun video. So, and she addresses this, I think, in a succinct kind of way. So here we go. Let's go.
Just a short video today. An update on Macron v. Owens lawsuit for defamation filed by the President and First Lady of France, Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron, against podcaster Candace Owens. A hearing was held on July 27th on the motion to dismiss filed by Owens. Now, I was aware the hearing had taken place, but there wasn't much reporting about it, and the quotes I found in one article caught my attention, and not in a good way, especially quotes from the judge. So, I put the article aside for a couple of weeks. Then I realized it's not as if the article gave us a transcript of the hearing. So at this point, I can't tell what the judge will do when he issues a ruling, but the article does reveal something important. The judge doesn't want to dismiss the case, and we should pay attention to that. It means the judge likes the merits, and the motion to dismiss filed by Owens isn't about the merits at all. It's about the statute of limitations and the choice of forum, the jurisdiction where the lawsuit was brought. Now, those are technical grounds of dismissal. Now, because Owens incorporated her entities in the state of Delaware, she should submit to personal jurisdiction in Delaware, submit to being sued in Delaware. Her attorneys even claim that the lawsuit should have been filed in Tennessee, where she lives and works. Well, she should have thought of that when she started her businesses by incorporating in Delaware. The burden of defending the case in a distant jurisdiction is all on her. Nobody forced her to incorporate in Delaware, and she should submit to being sued in Delaware. Now, the other technical defense, statute of limitations, is viewed as causing problems for the Macrons, but only if the judge doesn't consider the fact that the defamation is a continuing injury. Now, none of the reporting mentioned that term, although it's the key.
This is a very interesting point, and I'm gonna reach out to some other attorneys as well. The continuing injury statute that she's gonna bring up is very interesting, and a lot of people have brought this up. And she kind of addresses it. And again, I want to make sure that she's on the, I want to hear some other people corroborate it because it's been ongoing. She's been saying this time and time and time again, that injury has never, the injury clock just keeps getting reset. This is kind of interesting. Let's check this out.
To understanding the statute of limitations in a case like this. Now, in a typical case, for example, we have an injury, say from a car accident. Now, soon after that, the plaintiff discovers a back injury. In most jurisdictions, the statute begins when the injury is discovered or reasonably should have been discovered. So, I would say, it begins when the doctor says you have a fracture of the L2 vertebra or whatever it is. Now, in some instances, if you delay the treatment despite severe pain, I don't know why anyone would do that, but if the delay is unreasonable, say 10 years, the court might say, well, the statute began to accrue from the date of the car accident because after 10 years, it's difficult to gather the evidence, find the witnesses, etc., and that's not fair to the defendants, whoever is going to be sued. But that would be a typical injury case with a definite start date to the statute of limitations and no huge controversy because most people will behave reasonably after a car accident and back pain. Now, a different type of injury, though, is the continuing injury in which the harm is ongoing. Now, that's what I believe we have with the Macron v. Owens case because, okay, Owens says repeatedly and has said repeatedly for years that Brigitte Macron was born a man and will die a man, quote unquote. She's allegedly a transgender individual who was born as Jean-Michel Trogneux and assumed the identity of Brigitte Trogneux after a transgender surgery. I mean, crazy stuff. Jean-Michel is Brigitte's brother. Brigitte has had 3 children. She's definitely not a man. Now, Owens also accuses Brigitte and Emmanuel Macron of having an incestuous relationship. She says they're blood relatives, which is false. Owens has even accused Brigitte of being a pedophile. Owens sells merchandise calling Brigitte Time Magazine's Man of the Year. So it's not just one discrete injury, it's a series of injuries. Now, in a case like this with a continuing injury, each discrete incident begins the statute of limitations all over again. So limitations isn't such a big issue with a continuing injury. So I don't understand why the news media have been harping on it, and I've not read one legal analysis that focuses on the concept of continuing injury, which is a big deal in considering the statute of limitations. Now, apparently, the judge said during the hearing that if the French statute of limitations applies, it's a wrap, because the French statute is 3 months, and the Macrons filed after 3 months, but within 2 years of the first injury they suffered from the defamation. Now, the Delaware statute of limitations is 2 years, and I don't know the full extent of the judge's statement. Maybe he was just saying, it's a wrap, pause, and now let's talk about continuing injuries. And maybe the news reporters just left that part out of their reporting. My observation is because it's a continuing injury, even if the French statute of limitations governs, the Macrons filed their lawsuit on time. The attorneys for the Macrons could have made a big issue of that during the hearing, but according to the reporting, which may or may not be accurate, the attorneys for the Macrons focused on a different argument that says the U.S. courts cannot apply the French statute of limitations at all because it violates a federal statute regarding foreign defamation judgments, which requires that the foreign law must provide as much protection as U.S. law to be enforced. Now, without going too much into that, in my view, the Macrons should prevail on the statute of limitations issue because of the continuing injury. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe.
Oh, we're going to definitely check her out again. We'll check her out again. She'll be back around. Thank you so much, Catherine Park. But let me know what y'all think about that. Do you think that the continuing injury argument, the continuing injury clock argument has some weight, some merit? What you think? Comment down below. And we'll be back next week talking about this, I'm sure, as it draws nearer and nearer. I'm sure there's going to be more information as September 1st. Apparently, that's when the judge is supposed to rule on this. When September 1st comes, it's going to be very interesting. So let me know what you think. Comment down below. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, liking and commenting and doing all that great stuff. I appreciate y'all. And until next time, grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the JWhit Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.